Hey everyone, it's Chris here from Everyday Survival Gear, and today we're checking out the Natfire HS50. So this Natfire HS50 has over 3,000 units sold on the Natfire AliExpress store, and it has a whole bunch of 5+ stars, or at least 4.5 stars on the Natfire store. People love it, but yet there isn't a review out there, or at least on YouTube, that I found. So I figured I would buy one and test it. So thanks to everyone that's clicked on my links and brought products through my links. You have made this video possible, and we can do whatever we want in this video. So before we go on, I'm just going to say that this Natfire HS50 has a brilliant UI. It is a awesome UI. Probably even one of the best UIs that you can currently get on a headlamp. It is good. Wait till the end of the video and you'll see how good the UI is. There'll be beam shots and I'll be at the end, so I'll leave an annotation here if you only want to see that. I know a lot of people don't like this part where we talk about the light and stuff. So I bought this for $12.32 without tax, and that's in US dollars. So it's super cheap. They're regularly about like $15, but they go on sale pretty often, and right now they're about $13. So this headlamp is a bargain. I think it's like probably a must buy. The only other headlamps that are in this category that are even worth mentioning are the D and H like 25Rs and stuff. And I'll show you those lights later. We will compare them. So I guess I better tell you what comes in the pack, seeing it's a headlamp. So you get the clip on the light. You do get a 3400 milliamp cell, which, you know, it's only outputting 1000 lumens. So even though it's a no-name cell, it does a good enough job. You get the headlamp like attachment, the strap, and it simply just clicks in like so. You can click it in even like when the clip is on. You also get a USB Type-C cable, which is in the box, which I didn't prepare earlier. No instructions actually, but the box itself is actually, I'll move this out of the way for a sec. The box itself looks pretty cool, but yeah, no instructions. You get the, it's a Type-C built-in charger, and you get these things. So apparently these things kind of like attach to your hat, and you can wear the headlamp. I haven't tried them yet, but I have to give it a go soon. So I guess we should start off by talking about the specs and features. It is made out of aluminium alloy, as you would expect, and it is using hard anodizing type 3. It does have a glass lens here that I can tell from poking at it. No kind of like AR coating on it or anything, but it is a fairly cheap flashlight, coming in at only $12 US. It does have reverse polarity protection, which is pretty cool to find on such a cheap headlamp. And they also use something called advanced temperature regulation, which reduces the brightness when the driver reaches 60 degrees Celsius. In the lux test, you guys will see that at work. Other features would include things like it's got a reversible clip. You can place it either here or here. It does have a inbuilt Type-C USB charger, and it is IP66 rated. And I quite like the way that this fits down here. So you guys can see that it's pretty snug here and it fits on pretty well. It is sometimes pretty hard to get loose, but there is like pretty much almost no way that you would be like pulling that out by accident. That's what she said. Keep it in there, fellas.
Ting tang, walla walla bing bang.
So like this, like it's pretty even here. So you should be pretty sweet to keep that in line. It is using a E-switch that does have a charging light. It does also turn on when you turn the light on, as you can see, but it doesn't stay on. It would be pretty cool, you know, they've already got the switch there with the light, so why not like give us an option where it can just be on and stay on? Like that's what we want. Well, that's what I want at least. I don't know about you guys. One thing to add is that the charging or the light here also act as a battery indicator, but I don't know the specs because Natfire doesn't tell you. But I did have the battery pretty low and it did turn red, and it is green sometimes and then red. So that's about all I know. I'd have to like really test that battery voltage out, but probably no one really cares, eh? Before I forget, it does have other features like a magnetic tail cap. So we'll just go here, and it holds itself up pretty well. Not sure if I'm missing any features, but I could be. But they don't really tell you that many features on the Natfire website. Alright, now we'll just go over the output. This is all measured by me. We also might as well talk about the LED while we're here too. So Natfire say it's using a LED when they just write a G2. Doesn't really tell you too much. It does kind of look like a XML2 or an XML3. Also, it kind of looks like a SST40, but it could also be something that's quite generic because it is putting out about a 6500K tint. So it is pretty cold white. That's kind of like, I know a lot of people are going to say it's not the best tint. I know it's not the best tint, but it does still output a little bit over 1000 lumens peak. So I measured it at 1079 lumens peak, and after 30 seconds it does drop down to 614 lumens. But you got to remember, right now here in Australia, although it's nighttime, it is about 24 degrees and there's no wind, so it's still quite hot. So you know, if you're going to use it in the snow, it does have that ATR, that advanced temperature regulation, so it should be able to monitor the driver temp. Also, lux wise, you know, you can see the reflector is quite shallow and small, so it only puts out 1652 CD. So it doesn't throw very far, but it is super floody, and that's really what you want with a headlamp. Alright, so while I got the light charging, I'm just going to go over the build quality and the size spec. So it is quite a lightweight light, coming in at only 45 grams. So it is a little bit lighter than the lights like the HR25 and stuff I got here, but to be fair, this is two LEDs. I kind of feel like, you know, you could pocket this Natfire HS50 and use it as a EDC, whereas these ones are kind of like an awkward shape. So they're going to be a little bit harder, and you know, when you're carrying them around in your pockets, you know, these probably will be a little bit better for heat dissipation. And when I say I do have a few of these, I do have quite a few of these DH style flashlights. So yes, I do have quite a few. So I can say, like, they are different style lights between the Natfire HS50, but these two are pretty close competitors. I would say, you know, you are getting a little bit better tint and LED on these HR25s or H25, but I would say the UI and driver is probably a little bit better on the Natfire HS50. So that had absolutely nothing to do with build quality. But yeah, overall, build quality is great. You know, you can see everything functions well. Everything is solid, and construction is great. Alright, so if you're still watching, thank you for sticking around. Now we're just going to check out the UI on the Natfire HS50. So I did unplug the USB Type-C just to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the modes here. So it does have a hidden turbo, a hidden moonlight, and 5 normal modes in the normal UI, and it does have 3 strobies. This is probably the UI king of all flashlights on the market, but it does have one slight flaw that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it doesn't really matter because memory mode can be turned on and off, so keep that in mind. Natfire don't actually tell you how many modes it has, so it's pretty cool to see how many modes that it had. So we can, I guess we'll just go moonlight mode. Click and hold, and there we go. We got our little moonlight mode. It is lower than the low mode. So from here, you should be able to double click to get into turbo. And there we have it. That's turbo mode there. Over 1000 lumens at startup. We'll turn it off, and we'll push and hold. And that should get us into our normal mode, which has 5 modes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we have it. That's our 5 modes. So in all those modes, you can see there's no kind of issue with like PWM on the camera. It all works fine. So this is its lowest mode. So it does start off on the highest mode. So if you don't have memory mode on, you can click the you can click the E switch here and 10 times, and that'll turn on and off memory mode. I've got memory mode on, I believe. So when we turn this off, it should turn back on its lowest mode, and there we have it. So that's why, although it does start on the highest mode, so it does start on this, not on turbo mode, just on the highest mode in the regular UI, it does have a really good memory mode, so we can basically go down to any kind of mode here, and it should remember it. Not sure how long you got to leave it on for before it memorizes it, but it's pretty quick. We'll try now. It's only been, what, like 10 seconds. And yeah, started back on the same mode. So pretty good. I think overall it's one of the best UIs on the market. You can also get into the strobe modes. So I think the easiest way to do it is to double click to turbo and then double click again, and now we're in strobe mode. And then you can cycle strobe modes here. It's got a bunch of different ones. So yeah, pretty cool. You don't really need strobe, then you're not going to activate strobe because it's like 4 clicks away. So you could still accidentally do it, but I think it's a pretty well set up UI. It's got everything that you need. I just remember that I had the D25S outside, which has dual SST40s. So if we put these two together, you can see they are pretty similar looking. The SST40s look maybe slightly bigger or maybe not, I'm not sure. But you can see that the bonding wires are definitely a lot bigger on the SST40s there. And look at how huge the bonding wires are compared to those little bonding wires there. Much beefier. This light is also like very old, so Lumens could have updated the manufacturing process or whatever. And also you can see there is a little bit difference of the surface there. So the surface between the G2 in here, the Natfire HS50, and the SST40 here, you can see the surface is has a little bit bigger holes here. Not sure how well you guys can see that on camera, but to my eyes, when I'm not looking through the lens, I can see it pretty good. So there is a little bit of a difference. I love the fact that you can leave the clip on and still rotate it pretty far. Like, I don't think you're gonna have to rotate. Well, actually, you can just spin it like so, and it will rotate the whole way. That's awesome. That design is bloody awesome. Cool. Alright guys, so don't mind the mess here. I'm just showing you guys the moonlight mode. So I'll turn it off, the Natfire HS50, push and hold for a while, and there we have it, the moonlight mode. There is not a lot of light, but you can see, you know, if we pick up this liquid car polish, it's just enough to like read labels and stuff. So in the shed, it does a good enough job. Alright guys, so we've got the Natfire HS50 on for some beam shots. We're on the highest normal mode, so we're not on turbo mode yet. So the UI does start on the highest mode in the group settings, and then it goes down. So this is the highest output. This is output number 4. So you can see not a huge gap in output, but there's enough. Output number 3. So I'm counting down backwards. Still enough to light up the backyard. The video will be pretty grainy by now. Output number 2. And then that's output number 1 right now, so I can't really see that much. I can just see the back fence, but yeah. And we cycle back around, and that's the highest group setting modes, and then you double click, and that's your turbo mode there. So turbo mode isn't like a huge improvement, but it's not too bad. You know, if we look at the yard, it is pretty much like it's a super floody beam, so it is wasting a lot of light. Sorry about the sound of the tripod. Sounds sus there. It is wasting, you know, like a lot of light around the yard, but it's 1000 lumens, so it is pretty good. It is kind of stepping down, as you just saw, but it does only weigh 45 grams, so it is what it is. Alright guys, now we've got the Sofren D25 LR on. This is the one with the red and the normal white light. It is like a warm white high CRI tint, so it doesn't output overly too much lumens, but it is a single LED, so it is pretty good to compare it to the Natfire HS50. We'll turn on the HS50 now. So HS50 over this side, we'll double click, and so you can see the HS50 is definitely brighter than the H25 LR, and it is a lot floodier beam. You can see the beam is much floodier, whereas like if we go over here, you can see how much difference the Sofren beam is on the D25. But both great headlamps. I would buy it. Well, actually I own both of them, don't I? So yeah, they're pretty similar headlamps. Pretty similar price. I'd have to say the UI button on the HS50 is a lot better. Alright guys, last but not least is the I think it's the H20 25S by Sofren, the one with the dual SST40s. headlamp. So yeah, here it is. It is very, very bright. And you can see over here to the left is the Natfire HS50. So we'll double click and that's turbo mode. So it's actually not as bad as I thought. So these are both cold white tints, so you can see definitely that the Natfire to your left is much cooler than the SST40s here, although they are a cold white tint too. But the Osram LEDs always do favor green, and I'm quite a big fan of these cold white LEDs. Even though they are greenish, they do look pretty good. So yeah, not bad. Alright guys, so overall I'd have to say the Natfire HS50 is probably the best headlamp for its money on the market right now. Even compared to more expensive headlamps, it does just as good. It's built just as well, looks good, offers a lot of features. Its UI is amazing. The LED could be better, but overall for the price, I don't think it can be beaten. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the review, and as always, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.